welcome to the slow world, where the world quiets down and nature tells its story. Settle in and allow the weight of the day to drift away. There is nothing you need to remember. Simply listen as we follow a day in the life of a green sea turtle. The world begins in an immense and profound darkness. It is not the absence of light, but a presence of its own. Here, in the twilight zone of the ocean, hundreds of feet below the sunlit surface where waves crash and birds fly, the night is an element. It is a heavy, silent blanket of deep, endless, liquid blue. There is no sound as we know it, no rustle of leaves, no whisper of wind. There is only the low, ancient hum of the ocean itself, a vibration felt more than heard, a resonance that seems to emanate from the very core of the planet. The pressure here is a constant, gentle, and powerful embrace, a physical reminder of the weight of the world above, a column of water so vast it could hold mountains. On the sandy ocean floor, a plain of fine, pale sand stirred by slow, deep currents, a green sea turtle rests. She is sheltered beneath the protective overhang of a rocky ledge, a geological feature that has stood for millennia, now draped in deep-sea sponges and soft corals that glow with a faint, ghostly bioluminescence. She is a creature of immense age, not just in her own life, which has spanned many decades, but in the life of her kind. Her lineage is a thread stretching back through unimaginable time to an era when the continents themselves were still drifting into their modern forms, a time of dinosaurs and ancient seas. Her great shell, a perfect, streamlined dome, is a mosaic of muted greens, olives and browns, a map of her journeys. It is etched with the faint scars of a long life lived in the deep. A close encounter with a reef, a bump against a rock. It is her shield, her home, her ballast, the bony and cartilage vessel that carries her through the world. She is utterly still, her powerful, paddle-like flippers tucked loosely at her sides, her head with its strong, beak-like mouth drawn slightly into the safety of her shell. She is not sleeping in the way a land creature does. She is in a state of profound rest, a deep water trance where her reptilian metabolism slows to a crawl, her heartbeat becoming a ponderous, intermittent thump, a minute or more passing between each beat. In this state, her need for the air of the world above becomes a distant, almost forgotten memory. But now, deep within her ancient physiology, something changes. It is not a sound, not a touch, but an ancient instinct stirring. A biological clock, wound by the pull of the tides and the phases of the moon, begins to tick its silent, inexorable rhythm. It is the call of the light, the irresistible pull of the sun, which is still hours away from touching this deep, dark place. Her ancient, reptilian eyes, covered by wrinkled, knowing lids, open slowly. They are dark, soft, and impossibly old, holding a wisdom that comes from a life spent navigating the vast, silent spaces of the sea. They see not with clarity in this gloom, but with a deep familiarity. She has known this darkness for a lifetime. It is as much her home as the light. A slow, deliberate movement begins. a process of gentle awakening. Her head, with its skin like worn leather, emerges fully from her shell, her neck stretching with a surprising grace. Her great, leathery flippers, shaped like gentle, powerful oars, extend from her sides, flexing in the dense water. With a single, powerful push against the soft, yielding sand of the bottom, she lifts off, her great weight becoming instantly, miraculously, a state of perfect, neutral buoyancy. She hangs suspended in the deep blue for a long moment, a silent, living ship in a vast, dark harbour. Her movements economical and serene. Then, with a slow and rhythmic beat of her front flippers, a motion like a great bird soaring in slow motion, she begins her ascent. Upward, always upward, toward the world of air and light. She does not rush. Her movements are unhurried, immensely powerful, yet utterly serene. She rises through the water columns, passing through invisible layers of changing temperature and pressure, thermoclines that she feels against her skin. The world around her begins its slow transformation. The profound, inky black of the deepest water gives way to a dark, hazy indigo. Then, higher still, the indigo lightens to a rich, deep cobalt. She passes a phantom-like jellyfish, a ctenophore, pulsing gently in the current, its trailing tentacles a curtain of fine, stinging silk. It flashes with its own internal, bioluminescent light, a brief, silent firework in the dark. She moves past it, unconcerned. She continues upward, a slow, patient, diagonal climb. Now, the first true signs of the sun appear. They are not a light source, but a feeling, a pervasive brightness from somewhere far above. Long, faint, shimmering shafts of light, like the pillars of a submerged, forgotten cathedral, penetrate the blue, shifting and dancing with the ceaseless movement of the water. The blue becomes brighter, more vibrant, shifting from cobalt to a brilliant, royal blue. She can see the surface now, a shimmering, quicksilver ceiling far above her. It ripples and moves, a liquid sky, distorting the world beyond it into a shifting pattern of light and shadow. With a final, powerful beat of her flippers, she aims for that ceiling and breaks through. The world changes in a single, explosive instant. The muffled silence of the deep is replaced by the sound of the world. She takes her first breath of the morning. It is a deep, long, sighing sound, an explosive release of old, stale air, and a deep intake of the new. The air is cool and clean, and tastes of salt and distance. The sound of the world is no longer a muffled hum, but the soft, rhythmic lapping of gentle waves against her shell. The rising sun is a brilliant blaze of orange and red on the horizon, a fire that seems to burn on the very edge of the water, painting the underside of the high clouds in impossible shades of pink, rose, and gold. She floats on the surface, her great shell a small, dark island in a vast, dawnlit sea. Her eyes, so accustomed to the deep dark, blink slowly in the new, brilliant light. She has returned to the world of the sun. After several long, restorative breaths, at the surface, each one replenishing the oxygen in her blood, the turtle dips her head beneath the water again. Her eyes, now adjusted to the bright, clear world of the sunlit zone, scan the depths. A new, more pressing instinct now guides her hunger. With slow, purposeful strokes of her powerful flippers, she propels herself forward, cruising just below the surface where the water is warm and the light is bright. Her journey is not long. She is not exploring randomly. She carries a map in her blood, a deep, instinctual knowledge of this particular stretch of ocean, passed down through generations. She knows the currents, the topography of the seafloor, the location of the best foraging grounds. She is heading for the meadows. Not meadows of grass as land creatures know them, but vast, sprawling underwater prairies of seagrass. These meadows thrive in the shallow coastal waters sprawling across wide, sandy plains where the sunlight can penetrate all the way to the bottom. This light fuels their growth, creating a lush, green world. The long, green, ribbon-like blades of turtle grass sway gently back and forth in the patient rhythm of the current, like a field of wheat in a soft summer breeze. She arrives above the meadow and glides to a stop, her shadow a large, dark, bird-like shape passing over the sunlit grass below. She descends slowly, her buoyancy perfectly controlled with small, precise movements of her flippers, and lands with a soft, gentle bump on the sandy floor, sending up a small, lazy puff of white sand. She lowers her head, her strong, horn-covered, beak-like mouth ready. She begins to graze. The motion is methodical, peaceful, and rhythmic. She grips a clump of the tough, fibrous seagrass in her beak and tears it with a sharp, sideways twist of her head. She chews slowly, her powerful jaw making short work of the resilient vegetation. Small, uneaten pieces of the green blades, looking like freshly cut grass, float up from her mouth, drifting away in the gentle current. They do not go to waste. They become a gift, a slow-falling meal for the smaller fish that often follow her loyal entourage. This seagrass meadow is a world of its own, a bustling, vibrant community teeming with small life, and the turtle is a calm, benevolent giant in their midst. A tiny, almost transparent seahorse, its prehensile tail curled tightly around a blade of grass to avoid being swept away, watches her with its independently moving eyes. A small school of yellow-striped grontfish, their scales flashing in the sun, hovers nearby, darting in to peck at the tiny crustaceans and other organisms she stirs up from the sand with her movements. A hermit crab, dragging its borrowed spiral shell, makes a slow, determined journey across her path, its stalked eyes swivelling to take in her immense form. She is aware of them all, a part of the landscape they inhabit, but her focus is on her meal. She moves slowly, methodically, across the underwater meadow, like a great, patient gardener tending her plot. She trims the grass, but never pulls it up by the roots. Her grazing is not destructive. It is a vital part of the ecosystem. It helps to keep the meadow healthy, preventing the grass from becoming too dense, and promoting new growth. A small filefish, its skin a mottled green, a la shreed, green that perfectly matches the grass nibbles at the algae, that has grown on the older parts of her shell. She is a moving reef, a habitat in her own right. She eats for a long time, perhaps an hour or more, her great body fueled by the simple, abundant green life of the sea. The sun climbs higher in the sky, its rays growing warmer, more intense. The water around her is a brilliant, clear turquoise, and the patterns of light refracting through the surface dance and shimmer across her back. She can feel the warmth on her shell, a pleasant, deep heat that soaks into her cold-blooded body. When she is full, the feeding stops as gently as it began. She lifts her head, a few final strands of grass trailing from her mouth. She takes a slow, unblinking look around the sunlit meadow. The instinct to rest, to digest, to simply be, now takes over from the instinct to feed. With a gentle push of her flippers against the sand, she lifts off from the bottom once more, leaving the peaceful meadow and its inhabitants behind, and begins to rise again, slowly and gracefully, toward the warm, inviting surface of the great blue sea. The sun is directly overhead now, a blazing white jewel in a vast, cloudless sky. Its light penetrates deep into the clear water, illuminating the ocean in brilliant, almost blinding shades of blue and green. The sea is calm, the surface rising and falling in a slow, hypnotic, deep-breathing swell. The turtle has returned to the surface, her home between two worlds. She is not travelling, not feeding, not searching. She is resting. She floats effortlessly, a living island in the immense blue, her great shell acting as a natural raft. The shell, warmed by the direct, intense heat of the sun, is like a biological solar panel, absorbing the thermal energy that will fuel her cold-blooded body through the rest of the day and into the cool night. This is a time of complete surrender. She gives herself over to the ocean, to its ancient, powerful, and invisible rhythms. She is held by the blue, rocked gently by the long, slow waves that lift her up and set her down with an infinite patience. A surface current, invisible but strong, begins to carry her, a slow, silent journey with no specific destination. She does not fight it. She does not resist. She drifts. Her head is mostly submerged. Her eyes are closed. Her eyelids like thin, wrinkled curtains drawn against the bright light. She rises to the surface for a slow, sighing breath every few minutes. A quiet, periscopic movement, then sinks back down, her shell just breaking the surface. A small, dark bump in the vastness of the sea. She is in a perfect state of wakeful rest, her mind quiet, her body conserving the abundant energy from her morning meal. From her perspective, just below the surface, the world looks serene and beautifully distorted. The underside of the water's surface is a rippling, liquid silver mirror, reflecting the deep, pure blue of the sky above. The sun is a blinding, brilliant orb, its light fractured into 1,000 shimmering, dancing pieces by the moving water. She is aware of the world above, the world of air and clouds and birds, but she is not a part of it. She is in her own world, a creature of the water, basking in the light of the air. A small seabird, a tern, its wings sharp, and white against the blue, swoops down and lands for a moment on the highest point of her shell, mistaking it for a floating piece of driftwood. She feels the tiny, tickling weight of its small, webbed feet. The bird rests for a moment, tilts its head, preens a feather under its wing, then, realizing its perch is alive, takes flight again with a startled, sharp cry. The turtle is completely undisturbed. Such brief encounters are a normal, insignificant part of her long day. She drifts for a long time, for hours, her mind a quiet space, her body a vessel on the great, slow river of the ocean current. This is the heart of her day. The quiet center, a time of deep, profound, and untroubled peace. A time of simply being, a time of letting the world carry her where it will. She is a part of the ocean, and the ocean is a part of her. As the sun begins its slow descent from its zenith, the angle of the light changes, and the heat of the day begins to soften. The turtle stirs from her passive, sun-drenched drifting. A new, gentle impulse guides her, an instinct for exploration and shelter. The current has carried her near a different world, a place of vibrant colour, intricate structure, and teeming life, a coral reef. With a few slow, powerful strokes of her flippers, she alters her course, dipping her head and beginning a graceful, gliding descent. She moves from the open, empty, uniform blue of the ocean into the complex, chaotic, beautiful world of the reef. It is like moving from an open sky into a dense, magical, and alien forest. The coral reef is a silent, sprawling, living city built over thousands of years by the patient, ceaseless work of tiny, colonial polyps. Great, branching structures of staghorn coral rise up like the bare, white branches of winter trees. Massive, rounded brain corals, their surfaces covered in labyrinthine patterns, sit like ancient, wise stones on the ocean floor. Delicate sea fans, in shades of deep purple and vibrant orange, wave gently back and forth in the current like intricate, living lace. The turtle glides through the canyons and valleys of this underwater metropolis, a slow, majestic, and welcome visitor. Her movements are calm and unthreatening, and the millions of residents of the reef go about their business around her, largely unconcerned by her presence. A school of tiny, electro-blue damselfish, which had been hovering above a patch of coral, darts away in a single, unified, flashing cloud as she approaches. She passes over a large, flat stingray, partially buried in the sand, only its eyes and breathing spiracles visible, watching her pass. A large parrotfish, its beak-like mouth, a brilliant turquoise, nibbles audibly on a piece of hard coral nearby, the sound a soft, rhythmic crunching in the quiet water, a sound that is part of the reef's own unique chorus. She finds a spot she likes, a small, protected cavern formed by a large overhang of rock and coral. She expertly maneuvers her large body into the space, tucking herself in, finding a place where she is safe, sheltered, and can simply observe. Here, she becomes part of the scenery. She is an observer. She watches the endless, beautiful, and sometimes ruthless drama of the reef unfold before her. A small clownfish, bright orange with bold white stripes, darts playfully in and out of the protective, stinging tentacles of its host anemone. A perfect symbiotic relationship. A long, slender trumpetfish hangs vertically in the water column, motionless, perfectly disguising itself as a piece of drifting seaweed waiting for a small, unsuspecting fish to swim too close. A tiny, colourful shrimp meticulously cleans a much larger grouper who holds perfectly still, its mouth agape, allowing the shrimp to pick parasites from its gills and teeth. The turtle watches it all with her ancient, placid eyes. She is a part of this world, yet separate from it. A quiet, passing guardian. The vibrant, busy life of the reef swirls around her still, immense, and patient presence. She rests here for a time, a silent king on a coral throne, simply watching the slow, beautiful, and ceaseless dance of life in the sunlit afternoon waters of the reef. The light begins to change again, its quality shifting dramatically. The sharp, bright blues and greens of the afternoon soften. The angle of the sun is low now, and the light that filters through the water is a deep, rich, and liquid gold. It is the golden hour, even here, 20 feet beneath the waves. The turtle feels this shift in the light, this subtle change in the temperature of the water. It is a signal, an ancient call to which she must respond. The day is drawing to a close. She emerges from her resting place in the reef, backing out of the small cavern with slow, careful movements. With a gentle push of her flippers, she begins to move away from the bustling city of coral. She leaves the vibrant colours and the busy, intricate life behind, and moves back out into the wide, open, deepening blue of the open ocean. She swims slowly, her pace even more relaxed and deliberate than before. She is not hungry. She is not searching for anything. She is simply moving through the world as the world itself prepares for night. She rises one last time to the surface. The sight that greets her is spectacular. The sun is a fiery, liquid orb, just touching the perfectly flat horizon of the sea. It paints the undersides of a few wispy clouds and the surface of the water in impossible, brilliant shades of orange, pink, and deep, royal purple. The sky is a masterpiece of fire and water, and she is the sole audience in this vast, liquid theatre. She takes several long, slow breaths, filling her great lungs with the last of the day's warm, clean air. She feels the coolness of the evening breeze on the small patch of her head that is above water. She holds her position, floating, simply watching as the last sliver of the sun disappears completely below the edge of the world. Twilight settles over the ocean. The brilliant, fiery colours fade to a soft, dusky violet, then to a deep, dark grey. The first, bright stars begin to appear in the darkening sky, pinpricks of cold, distant light. It is time to descend. It is time to return to the safety, the pressure, and the profound silence of the deep. With a final, quiet sigh, she releases her breath and lets her great, natural weight carry her down. She sinks beneath the surface, leaving the world of stars and air and breezes behind. The descent is a mirror of her morning journey, but in reverse. The water turns from violet to a deep, dark blue. The last of the ambient light fades, and she is once again enveloped in the familiar, comforting darkness of the deep ocean. She glides through the profound darkness, a world that is not empty, but filled with a different kind of life. A secret, nocturnal world. The ocean at night is a world of quiet mysteries. As her eyes adjust to the absolute blackness, she begins to see the magic. Tiny, bioluminescent organisms, plankton, krill, and other small creatures flash and sparkle in the water around her as she moves, disturbed by her passage. They are like a field of living stars in the deep. A passing creature, perhaps a deep-sea squid, leaves a ghostly, glowing trail of blue-green light in its wake. The darkness is not empty, but alive with cold, silent, and beautiful light. She returns to the same area where she began her day, her internal magnetic compass, guiding her flawlessly through the trackless dark. She finds the rocky ledge, the safe, familiar overhang. She settles onto the sandy bottom, the soft sand shifting slightly under her great weight. She pulls her head and flippers in, making her great shell an impenetrable, living fortress. Her heartbeat, which had quickened slightly with her travels, slows once more to its deep, ponderous, resting rhythm. Thump, a long pause. Thump, another long pause. She is at rest. The immense pressure of the ocean is no longer a force to be navigated, but a comforting, secure weight, a familiar blanket. The deep, muffled silence is a lullaby. She closes her ancient eyes. She will rest here through the long, dark hours, her body still, her mind quiet. She will drift in and out of her deep, reptilian sleep, a state of being that is almost as old as the sea itself. The campfire, your campfire, crackles softly in the distance, a sound of warmth and safety in a cool, dark world. The great ocean holds her in its hand, a timeless creature, resting in the deep, waiting for the first, faint, imperceptible signal of another dawn. Thank you for wandering with us in the slow world. May your rest be as calm as the deep ocean, and may sleep find you gently,